What up, people? It's Jason here from Custom Cans, and over the last year we've been making these videos, several people have asked me to start taking a look at the superlux headphones and see how they're made and see what I think of them, that kind of thing. It's not something that I thought I was going to do because they're quite a low retail price and there's nothing that we can really do with them because the margins would be too tight. But as I am at present designing a couple of pairs of headphones from scratch, I'm trying to get in a few extra models just to see how they're made, just see if there's anything I can learn from them. So I've got a few interesting headphones coming, but as these are relatively cheap, I thought might as well get them, see what thing up go on. They seem like incredible value for money. Like they look a bit plasticky, but I don't know. I think these cost about £30 if you hunt around. These are the HD681, and they're clearly some kind of AKG rip-off. But, you know, if you're going to rip something off, you might as well rip a good thing off. I can see they make some Bear Dynamic clones as well, so I might get some of those in. Yeah, it'd be quite interesting to get the Bear Dynamic ones in and see how closely the parts match, see if maybe you needed a new headband or something like that, whether you could buy the superlux ones and swap parts over. It'd be interesting to see if they're a good source of parts. They might be amazing, I don't know, I'll have a listen to them. We'll see. Right, so these are the 618s. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a quick listen now. We'll take a frequency, what's it, on there just to see what we're looking at. And then I'll pull them apart and see how they're made. Check out the design. But initially, you know, very lightweight. They feel a bit plasticky. This headband is actually pretty good. You know, spring steel, just like the real AKGs. The plastics definitely aren't as nice. Obviously, they're not as nice. The headband, again, is plasticky rather than leathery. But it adjusts in the same way. They've copied the same mechanism for expanding the headband. So, first impressions, like, you get what you pay for, I think. But in a good way. You know, these are 30 quid and you know, they seem alright. They seem very good value. I certainly couldn't make anything for that kind of money. You know, cable for a Bear Dynamic is £20. This is £30 for the whole headphone. So, it's pretty incredible. Oh, very, very light. Okay. So, initial thoughts, they're not bad. They're not bad. Like 30 quid, very acceptable. You know, if you were starting out, you've got a little home studio or something like that, you've got no money to throw at it, you've only got 30 quid left. They're alright. They're better than, I've tried some other cheaper headphones and I think they're very good value. The mids are quite forwards. There's a little bit of boom in the bass, like occasional muddiness at certain frequencies. Like they're not as good as £100 pair of headphones, but they're all right. Let's have a see what's going on here. Let's pop those on the rig. Sorry, bin lorry outside. It's always the way. Just when you try to take measurements, someone makes loads of noise. Let's give it a minute. Okay, so there's your frequency response, and as you can see, kind of gradually rolls off as you reach the low end, and then much below sort of 70 hertz, you haven't really got anything. So you haven't really got a lot of sub bass there, but it looks like with a bit of EQing, you could sort out the mid range. I bet the driver basically just can't reproduce notes below that frequency, but it's not too bad. You know, it's definitely more biased towards the upper mids and trebles. You could probably modify them a little bit and get a bit more out. I don't know if it's something that, if you really, really want to see some mods of those, if there's a big community for these, we could maybe do something. But the problem is, if we're, you know, these are £30 headphones, if we've got to charge £10 or £15 for a mod, then it's kind of, I don't know. But yeah, if there's a big community, if loads of people comment, obviously I can have a look around and see if there's some things that you might be able to find around the house, like bits of sponge and plasticine and stuff that we could stick in there and make them sound a bit better. But, you know, they're not terrible. It's 30 quid. It's this 30 quid headphone. And, like, comfort-wise, that's very good. You know, I'm currently looking at buying headbands, because designing one from scratch for headphones is pretty in-depth, especially if you're running small numbers like we're going to be doing. And, you know, the headband alone, 30 quid all day. So that's, So that's, anyway, enough of that. Let's open these up and see what's inside. Okay, so hopefully this is pretty straightforward. Let's start by removing the pads. I'm just going to hook my finger underneath, pull them off. The pads don't have any holes in underneath, like they're stitched all around here, so it's not the prettiest stitching, but it looks pretty solid. So yeah, it's a pretty decent pad where they've gone for kind of durability over looks, which is nice. For a studio headphone, you've got some foam in there, which is quite dense. So you've got a fabric on the back and some foam, so that would have been to do with the tuning slightly, and also protect it from getting dust and stuff inside. Underneath here we have the driver, and you got little things saying acoustic damper, please do not remove. So again, a bit of tuning's gone on there. They've stuck something over the front of the driver to restrict the airflow in a certain way. So it looks like some love has gone into the design of these, which is pretty cool. And I also like the fact they explain what it is and do not remove, so you're not tempted to, you don't just think it's some kind of security device. It's actually there for a purpose. So yeah. Nice idea. The driver itself, the diaphragm's around 40mm. Magnets around 20, and the voice coil is around 16mm. On these, they've got an open hole in the back of the magnet to allow the air to come back through to the back. So some tuning can be done from the rear of the driver as well by managing that airflow in and out of there. You can see you've got some tissue paper here with some holes in, which again would have been to do with tuning, but no screws under here that I can see. So I'm hoping maybe something under here like on the AKGs. So I'm just going to see if I can lever up that Superlux logo. Ooh. Hey! Oh, I see a screw. That's the screw. So 32 ohm, not crazy impedance. So again, for a home gamer, if you're going for cheap headphones, you should be able to run these straight off a laptop. You don't need an amplifier or anything. So like, they know their market. They've geared it appropriately. So I'm just going to remove a screw from the back here. So these jobbies are just pressed in. They don't say what material they're made of on there. Okay, so that's off. And then inside we have another screw and some solder joints going to the driver. So like with the AKGs, they're using the metal of the headband to take the signal from one to the other. So it's a good idea. I think I think it's a clever idea. And if I was designing headphones, I'd be tempted to steal that idea, but it's not. I'm not going to. But it's a tempting idea. So a big old self-tapping screw there. Oh, and then that comes off. What I might have to do is just pop up to the workshop and desolder that. Actually, yeah, let's just cut it. I can always solder it back on afterwards as long as I leave plenty of room. Cool. Right, so under here, again, you've got a plastic doohickey holding the two together and also holding the little rubber band, like a hairband on there, which works as the spring mechanism. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was a hairband. Yeah, so everything, everything feels a bit plasticky. Like, it's definitely not as nice. I know you have to pay a lot more to get a nicer headphone, but yeah, it's very plasticky. Right, so let's dispense with that for a moment. So, things that I'm noticing. They've gone to unnecessary expense here by having the word professional on there. That would have been an extra cost. And all of these little ridges and stuff around here, complexity isn't free. These all have to be machined into the tool that stamps these out. So they've spent money places they don't necessarily have to, but it makes it look a bit fancier. So if we remove that part there. So as you can see, these are the holes to make it open, and then underneath you've got this disc of felt, which will restrict the airflow through there and also stop dust from getting inside. What have we got here? So this is the suspension mechanism for allowing it to swivel, and then this also goes on there and that can rock backwards and forwards just on these two little pins there. So quite a clever, you know, it's a simple mechanism to get the range of motion that they want. So next, let's pull this part off. Oh no, actually, yeah, that's sprung. Oh, so you've got a proper little gimbal in there, and some interesting looking open cell foam inside. Oh, come on, give up your secrets. Alright, so that's the gimbal there, and then inside here is the driver. It's not a driver that I recognise, so it might be, I don't know, it might be one of their own drivers. You know, it's not one of the normal Chinese drivers that you see. It does look a bit different. Oh, it even says superlux on the circuit board. So yeah, so maybe they've had those designed especially. So this must just be a pilot high and sell them cheap kind of thing. You know, it's not just made up of random parts. And here we have the open cell foam, which will allow air in and out of these holes here, and also absorb some of the sound bouncing around inside. So overall, I think these are pretty good. You know, there's definitely more love put into, you know, tuning and stuff like that with the open cell foam and the disc there and the little acoustic damper on the front. You know, they've got some cheap headphones, but they've given them some love and some tuning to get the best sound out of them, which is very impressive. Repairability, I'm sure that it's very difficult on a pair of headphones like this because they're so cheap that it's probably cheaper just to replace them than repair them. But you know, it does look like you could pull them apart pretty easily. There's essentially just one screw that holds the whole thing together, which is, oh no, two screws. But even so, 2 screws and the whole ear cup comes apart. Very impressive. Yeah, from a design point of view, I think this is a very nice design. It looks like someone's, you know, really put some thought into it, have made the best they can for 30 quid. And yes, so I'm impressed. They sound all right. They don't sound great, but they sound all right. They sound pretty good for the money. Yes, I think they've definitely, you know, it's undeniable, especially the way they're built, you know, with the screw through the back is very similar to how AKG does it. They've basically taken some AKGs and copied the design closely, you know. But I'm just so impressed with the amount of tuning and love that has gone into these. You know, as I said, it's a pretty good design. Admittedly, they had a head start by copying someone else, but it's a shame they didn't use, you know, an extra £5 and use a fancier driver. But yeah, I suppose they probably, even though these retail for about 30, they've probably gone to knock them out for 15 quid or something like that to make it profitable for everyone in the chain. So just incredible what they've managed to do for 30 quid, and they really put some love into them. They're not just thrown together, they're well designed. They're cheap, but well designed. It's a shame. They could, I think with a better driver, they could have made these really, really good headphones. But obviously they're aiming for the low cost market, and I think they're pretty good. You know, if you've only got 30 quid to spend, I'd say these are okay. Overall, a well-designed headphone. I know they had a head start by essentially copying AKG, but it looks like they've done a good job, and they haven't just, you know, it's not like one of these Chinese clones where they just make them look the same and then that's it. They've actually gone in, they've done some tuning, and they've given it some love and tried to make it the best they can for the money. And this 30 quid, I don't think that's enough to spend on a pair of headphones, but if you only had 30 quid, these seem like a pretty decent studio headphone. They'll do the job, they'll get you going. They seem to have, you know, yeah, they're not all boomy. They have a bit of detail to them. There's a little bit of boom in the bass because they've dropped the bass, because they've rolled it off. You don't notice it as much. It doesn't overpower the mids and stuff. So yes, it's an alright starting point, but I'd probably save my money and get something a little bit better than these. But yeah, it'd be interesting. I have to get in whatever the Bear Dynamic clone version is, just to check that out and see what they're all about. And also because I've got a bit more experience tuning the Bear Dynamic headphones. Maybe some of our mods will fit the fake Bear Dynamic ones that Superlux makes, so that'd be quite interesting to do. So yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Do you have a pair of these? What do you think of them? That kind of stuff. Have you seen any other cool mods for them that maybe we could try out, as we've got a pair here? Let me know. Yeah, I was thinking maybe what we could do is try out a couple of mods on these and then maybe give them away in another video. So if you've seen any cool mods that you reckon we could try, stick your things in the comments and we'll give that a go. and then we'll foodle around with them and give them away to a subscriber or something like that. So yeah, so obviously if you've enjoyed this, give us a like, and if you hit subscribe, you might get a modified pair of these. I don't know. Yeah, get subscribed, and we'll mod some of these and give them away. But yeah, super awesome hanging out, and I'll see you guys again.